Hello, friends, and welcome to CappingTV for ozfortress Prem. My name is Graham Dreamboat Morrison, joined by Kevin, and we're here for some Prem action. Kevin, how are you doing?
I am doing splendid. It's been a while, finally back in the groove of the casting. Had a little bit of a break, but everyone is back for some wonderful ozfortress action. We're coming to the autumn 2026 season 40. Don't want to make a mistake. Season 45. So halfway to 50. But speaking about game, we do have some Prem action here for us tonight. Rosters wise, though, we'll quickly run through the teams that we have. So, Slimed out, if you want to quickly go through it, Mr. Dreamboat.
Yeah, it's Wilson Brown on the combo scout. Sky is your flank scout. You got Maddie on pocket. Psycho is your roamer. Glitchy's your demo, and Shady is the medic.
Yes, I think big differences with Prem this season, obviously being a bigger season. We do have some upcoming teams, and I think this is one of them we should highlight here, being Slimed out. So a team who pretty much has already played together, I want to say, in last season's high, except Maddie, who did play Inter that season, but overall, I think a very solid team. Unfortunately, though, the main core medic is Freaky, from what I've seen in the scrim, so unfortunately, Shady is filling in for him. Not ideal, but however, though, we're still in the early stages of the season. I think a player to look at, though, this team, though, I think the sort of win condition for this Slimed out squad is looking at Glitchy. I think if Glitchy is active and also sort of being vocal, because I know he's quite the vocal sort of demo player, I think Slimed out can definitely take this. But overall, I think a very well-rounded and very solid roster with a lot of players who are up and coming.
And that's just one of the two teams we got here tonight. Of course, Ziah's Burgers is the other team, running through that roster very quickly when we have the lovely graphic ready to go here. Their combo scout is world's blankiest blank. They've got Tom on flank scout, Andy Roo, the pocket, Masahiro's the roamer, Lemons or Anna, depending on what day you're feeling, is the demo, and Megumi on medic. How you feeling about their chances?
I think this team, Ziah's Burgers, have been around for such a long time. They've been playing together for a number of seasons now. And this roster pretty much hasn't changed, with a few different additions on the pocket class being, obviously this season you got Andy Roo coming in. I think he was on their roster a couple seasons ago, but I think as a sub from what I recall. But otherwise, Megumi, big difference I want to say is from last season, because they did play together, is Blank moving back to combo off med, and then Megumi switching from flank to medic. So a few class changes, but overall this team has been together for a long time. And look, I think we definitely do have two evenly matched teams and also well-rounded teams this game tonight.
We can take a quick look at the standings. I think if we've got a little bit of time here. We do not have time, I've been told.
But so, I think overall both teams actually have had a pretty, what you expected, being Prem being a bigger div. Both first top-seeded teams, or a top-seeded team, and both got rolled. Not rolled, so I should say, but both lost. And I think it was pretty expected of the scoreline. But now we're coming into a more, I'd say, evenly matched game, being on Gullywash, and we are going to the first mid for Ziah's Burgers taking on Slimed out. Something to note is Mashiro using the Beggars here as well. It's a signature weapon of his.
That's not something you see often, but it works out as Andrew goes flying in there, takes out the demo of Glitchy. And that is a huge opening pick. Andrew will fall. And now the kills coming in fast and furious as both Sky and Maddie go down. Ziah's Burger in a great spot here. It is now the medic falling. Mashiro again getting young Shady, or as he's called in-game, is Young Jitmas, which is one of the names of all time.
Yeah,
but huge first mid, because Ziah's Burger, they keep their medic alive. They've got that full Uber ad, and they'll be ready to push it to last year.
Yeah, I mean, the fast bomb as well coming up from Mashiro. He's definitely known for that Beggars go fast, and he's already got the Glitchy, which means basically as saying Gullywash, mid's pretty much over. And coming with full Uber ad onto this Gullywash mid, hopefully they're able to take it, which They are looking to gear up here, looking to potentially go through this shutter position, which the call has been made coming out from the side of Ziah's Burgers here. Lemons here, jumps from top right, getting a bit of spam onto the right-hand door, trying to lock them out there. However, no frags going down yet, but a big bomb coming out from the left side here, and just a heavy under secret there. The soldier staying alive, being Maddie, but he should be taken out. And first round coming out to Ziah's Burgers, a very convincing last push of all, and they've actually probably a very clean push there. Lemons obviously jumping in, locking out that right-hand spawn, and a really nice collapse on the left-hand side on the spawn of slimedout.
And just a classic play too, sending Blanky's blank right onto point. You know, it comes in with the Uber, drops on point, puts pressure on, and then the kills come in as they try to deal with the scout. And now, speaking of scouts, a lot of damage coming in from the scouts on Ziah's Burger here as they're looking to control. Down goes Maddie as World of Blanky's blank gets the first kill. Does get traded out by Coconut Water, who another one of those bizarre names is actually Wilson Brown. You guys on the broadcast don't have to deal with that. I have to cope in the copiest way possible.
One thing to note as well, Ziah's Burgers using around a double beggars, not conventional to say the least, but the thing is though, the side of slimedout not able to get any ground onto mid and just giving up straight away. So basically it wasn't even a mid fight, it was just Ziah's Burgers getting the high ground, and now we do see a bit of a spam war on this sort of flank play. Machiro with the beggars, unfortunately though, not able to spam as effectively, I think is a downside. But we do see a bit of a little bit of a fight coming out in this choke position here. However though, no frags there, just both teams spamming each other. Machiro getting pressured down there on the flank there, and does get taken out by Psycho and Sky, respectively. And this causes a little bit of a pressure play coming out from the side of Ziah's Burgers, and a trade, in fact, and really good middle coming out by Shady, actually, not able to use down the last second on 30 HP. And however though, much better Uber coming out from the side of Ziah's Burger, but unfortunately only just get one, but they do manage to take mid here, and ground gain coming out from the side of slimedout here. So really, really nice play coming out from Shady there, able to move Uber down to the last second.
Well, and this is one of those things too, where you're kind of pointing out the initial early deaths, and I was thinking, well, maybe, Andy was trying to, tried to bomb in. It is what it is with the beggars. Didn't work out. Allowed him to swap back to the original. Then you have Machiro die immediately as well. Swaps back to the rocket launcher. So a little bit by design. And that one, Machiro trying to get in, trying to find the kill on Shady, or at least pressure. The Uber's not up yet from either party. They're getting very close, and with a soldier down, that's less spam, so I'm expecting the Uber to come in from slimedout. They're taking some space towards Big Door. They're starting to walk through, and we should see the exchange come in any second. Now, Thomas so hurt. They now have Maddie in behind. Maddie will fall, though. He might stabilize out here, as we should see counter sack in some capacity.
Hopefully, I mean, it's now evening. It's just being constant fighting on the flank here, but we do see a bit of some pressure coming out from the side of Ziah's Burgers, trying to get free choke here, but 3 plays down for the side of slimedout. Ground gain for the side of Ziah's Burgers here, and we should see a trade coming out, which looks like the trade has been forced out. Uber used on Ziah's Burgers side, but play advantage though coming actually in favor of slimedout here, so it does actually work out a bit better for the side of slimedout here, despite being around down. However though, Ziah's Burgers trying to get out with the med, but the med does get killed. Megumi does fall, same for Lemons as well. Frags going in favor of slimedout here, and they're able to secure the second point and should start making their way onto us, which they are. Blank coming up on the entry, trying to get some sort of defense happening, and we already do see ground gain into lobby and working their way into this river position here.
I think NG's a mistake, because I'm not sure you're going to get time to get the gun up. It's just a level 1, but they're finding these kills. Maddie going down. As does Psycho. So both soldiers off the field. You get the counter sacks coming through, unable to convert. And we're going to stabilize out a little bit. But one thing you highlighted very quickly on kind of the roster breakdown is the medic changes for these two teams. You've got a sub in Shady. You've got Megumi, I believe you said, was in a combo. Sorry, as the Uber comes through. And now this Uber should actually work out beautifully. The gun down, they've already got a couple kills. This should be pretty straightforward cleanup, but they're not finding the kills yet. They're getting some time on the point. These soldiers causing problems, and finally they will go down glitchy, hitting pipes left, right, and center to take the round.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you highlighted before Megumi being on combat, obviously, few, I guess, adaptation changes, but something to want to highlight as well, sorry to cut you off before, is when glitchy is popping off, and especially that last push, you see the amount of damage that he can pop out, and also running just stock kills, he's hitting some nice shots right now in the game, so I feel like he's definitely on form.
And big aggressive bombs in once more from the soldiers. They are not finding the kills this go around. A much better mid from slimedout takes out the demo and both soldiers. They're going to see Ziah's retreat, try and run away and get their medic out. They might be caught here though. This is gonna be a tough one. And the KZ's just not quite there for the medic. They're gonna be trying to stay alive, trying to find a way to get to Uber, but it's a long way to go. And instead it has just resulted in a very staggered medic death. Seconds already capped. They're basically be on last before the medic even spawns. This is a tall task for Ziah's to try and stay alive.
Yeah,
and they do anything to stifle this last push as it comes in.
Full Uber ad as well now, and Megumi delaying her death there, not ideal, but River push coming out from the side of slimedout here, trying to get a bit of time on point, nice damage onto Lemons there. Uber does fade just below the point there, Glitch taking a lot of damage, but point capture going in favor of Slime out there, and I feel like they've actually figured out this sort of beggars play, and they are this time now, compared to second round, they're going, I think, much faster onto height basically, and I think they've, they're sort of countering how Ziah's wants to play here, and now they are just going to stay on the default rocket launcher, so no sort of gimmicks on the side of Ziah's Burgers here.
Yeah, much slower mid coming out from Ziah's Burgers this go around. Long delayed engagement, just kind of throwing spam across. Mashiro even tries to jump in. Maddie goes sky high, lives just barely 16 HP. Soldiers are so hurt here, but Mashiro's the first one to fall. Do they realize Psycho is in behind, getting in on the medic? The pressure there. Megumi, so hurt, does go down in the end to the rocket. And a couple, 3 kills make it coming out from a Wilson Brown. And the steamroll coming through here from slimedout. They are looking so good, except for the fact they dropped their medic in that one.
Shady had a very unlucky pipe. I saw Lemons hit a really nice direct onto him, and unfortunately he does go down. And it's basically just even Ubers at this point. Both men's not getting to kill straight away. Yeah, pretty much dead even here, unless you do choose to hard deal and take it straight into last here, which actually I feel like they will, because we do have a crit sim played there, Dreamboat. So this will be interesting, and I think where that comes into play is they need to go quick with it, and I think the objective is to get a nice crit sticky, try and find the med, and I guess try go for those sort of multi-frags, and I think using it on Glitchy, a demo who definitely is, I guess, well known for sort of sticky and pipe aim, is definitely a good call of order, and already pretty much on the crits and going through this balcony, so trying to get eyes onto the medic here. Crit does get unfortunately though, does just get neutralized by Mashiro there, and crit rocket though coming onto Andrew, so no frag onto Megumi there, and they are now at a disadvantage. Uber ad on the side of Ziah's Burgers here, but
under the point is a scout. Sky has gone on an adventure, is on the back cap. Thomas trying to stop it briefly, but not enough. A big time play from Sky, sneaking in through River, getting under the point, and getting on the point.
They weren't watching the flanks. So Sky must have, he ran through or just stand and just go drop water, and I guess the timing, so he must have caught Ziah's Burgers off guard then, most likely.
Now, anyone who's heard me cast over the years will have heard me use the term objective-based video gaming. That's what we saw there from slimedout. They're now up 3-1 into this next mid-fight.
Yes, indeed. And Mashiro back on the Beggars, getting a lot of the height, trying to get on. He does get taken out. Matt does trade out though. Does take down Mashiro. Andy does take down Sky in the process. So we do see frags going back and forth. However, they play advantage in favor of Ziah's Burgers, with just Mashiro being the only casualty here. But space and point contention, it looks a little bit better for the side of slimedout, despite having the disadvantage. But spawners should be coming out shortly for both sides here. A little bit of better Uber building coming up from the side of slimedout here, with Shady coming up to Uber shortly at 100% here. Question is, do they choose to use it? And looks like Uber does get popped out here. Uber should get popped in nick of time for the side of Ziah's Burgers. Megumi does get it just in time there. However, Glitchy and Cypher does get cleaned up, and this now looking better, sorry, for the side of Ziah's Burgers here, as they do manage to get ground, do manage to force the side of slimedout out of mid there, and now point has flipped in favor of the side of Ziah's Burgers here.
Yeah, just a great job of trying to stay alive, trying to kite out that Uber. And do we have shenanigans? Is it walking forward? Indeed it is. Andy has come up on the invisible man. A spy on the field. See if it can work out here. Find the kill on Shady. Andrew's walked through the choke point. Very lucky to have not caught some of that sticky reset spam. I don't think Glitchy intended to really get the benefit. But now the uncloak has come through. The spy is on the point. The spy has been sussed out. Andy down. The Frenchman did not work out, and we'll see a counter sack come through momentarily. Might just see straight pressure. Now they are getting down. Maddie through drop down. Bombs over the top, getting right in on the demo, doing so much damage. So much damage, and the Uber has to be popped out. Otherwise, Lemons was gonna die. And that's a really weak pop from Megumi, allowing slimedout to walk right back in here with Uber of their own. Scout hiding, unable to get the force off. And not only do they avoid popping Uber in the exchange to get mid, they still haven't popped it yet. Now they're walking through big door.
Yeah, really, really good use coming up from the side of slimedout, and they managed to clean up frags there, and really good force as well. You highlighted earlier coming out from Maddie there. But it looks like, it looks like slimedout, despite losing that one round earlier, I think they've sort of like figured it out, and now over time, sort of, despite playing with Shady as a stand-in, they are, standing just for tonight, they are, I think, slowly now figuring out how they want to play, and especially some of these, I guess, calls as well. Looks like, I feel like, because Shady is, I won't say, is vocal, definitely on what he sort of wants to do. I think he's definitely going to help out in that sort of department, but now, coming up with Uberad, they should be able to get a fourth round here, and remember, it is AFL, if you're familiar, not AFL, sorry, it is banning timers, so it is, even if the timer runs out, they still need to play that overtime, otherwise 5 rounds you do win.
Of course, the Banny config as the Uber comes out here. The sentry gun taken down, kills as well. This should be an easy round for slimedout. Is there going to be any response from Ziah's Burgers? No, they cannot get to the point. As slimedout collapsed all around it, puts the pressure on with the cap time. And they found number 4.
Yeah, I feel like something is just, I guess, slimedout, obviously, I think you have just figured out how the side of Ziah's Burgers wants to play and, take their sort of fights. And despite the, early, there hasn't been a point where both teams, yes, despite the scoreline, I think it's been close regarding, like, how they choose to use their pressure and how they want to play these stalemates. But there hasn't been any really on stalemate, as we do see Mishiro, go back to the Vegas play, but Shady actually getting trapped out here, and this might be the first mid where side of slimedout have to back out there. So really nice space now coming out from the side of Ziah's Burgers. Mishiro and Lemons were just locking out Shady to kill their demo.
Yeah, and just a lot of really great damage. The initial bomb didn't actually find a kill, but it put so much pressure damage-wise that the medic had to focus so hard on trying to keep their players alive. The damage differential came into factor, and then finally kills trickled through.
You gotta remember, being banning timer now, 4 rounds up, I think we could be seeing a bit of a stay on last, wait for the time to run out, go for the round reset, because we now do see the bunker, as I like to call it, or Highlander, or whatever you want to call it. We have an NG, we have a Pyro. Yeah, I think I have a strong feeling we might be on last for a while here, because they likely chance should just play for the round reset.
Yeah, we'll see some attempts, I'm sure, come through where they want to try and at least put a little bit of pressure in with a sack or two, but yeah, this is very much a, we're not full bus parking. We do not have the heavy out yet. We don't need all 3. Andy Root stepping out from under is on the point. There's pressure. We'll find the kill. They need to condense there. It pulls the Pyro away, which in turn gets the gun killed. So this is working out really well for Ziah's Burger. They've got 3 kills. The Uber has finally come out. They should be able to find the kill on Maddie, and now it is an engineer and an Uber and a Dream.
I mean, he's got spawners as well, and Uber does get popped out. Sky actually getting frags on this edge, which is kind of funny playing the good old third scout there, as I call it, and they do get a few frags, but the frags are actually not going in favor of slimedout there. They do lose a few. However, though, 2 players down, and we do have blank down on the side of Ziah's Burgers here. However, though, I think it looks like they are trying to figure out where to get through, trying to get the gun here. Getting a little space by Shutter, but they do manage to take out a gun. Otherwise, no further attempts to get into last year. I think they're just going to play the ad and try work their way in, but Shady is doing a good job trying to build this Uber here. He does have a scout to grind with if he does choose so, and I think they are going to choose that call here. So, not too sure.
They got to go immediately if they want to push this ad. That's what they're doing. They've got the scout under the point. Now the Ubers come out. Can they find the kills? Thomas goes down to the Heavy. They're trying to find any other kills that they can, but the Heavy is going to be too much meat in their faces. The man shuts it down. Magooby going down as well. Wilson Brown on the scout, hunting them through.
Sky getting 2 kills on the scout, right? The Heavy, by the way. That was quite the sight to watch on the ground. I thought we could see maybe a trade come out, but unfortunately Sky does hold his ground. 7 minutes left in the game on this map, sorry. And yeah, back foot is now, sorry, Ziah's Burger is now on the back foot, slimedout in the advantage here and having Uber add as well. It looks like Ziah's Burger is giving up mid, backing out onto second now, and I have a feeling they might have to give this up as well. Probably just try to focus on a bit of spamming, try to delay the advancement of the side of slimedout here, but doesn't look like any spam attempt. It is probably just a bit of spotting and trying to see where they are.
Yeah, you really just kind of have to concede. Andiru was trying to pull some shenanigans, was unsuccessful. Point now capped, second down, even Uber situation. Can they find a way in as that 14-second Uber ad did fade? Of course, it doesn't matter too much. You got second and mid off of it, so you're not complaining that you lost that Uber ad. Now can they find a way to break into last? Bomb comes through right into the Heavy. Heavy says, no way, nothing doing here. Now a second bomb also unsuccessful. So 2 soldiers down. We should see some pushback from Ziah's Burger. They're walking into lobby right now. Scout, medic, demo. Trying to find a way through. 3 players up in river, including the medic for slimedout. Don't think that Ziah's Burger is going to be able to get out here. They should be calling the retreat flag any second now as the soldiers have come through. Get back to last. Last thing you want is to be caught out in a river, caught awkwardly. Give up an easy last push.
Trying to get a bit of ground here, but the thing is though, being Banny Timer now, they do choose to go for the off-class blank coming up on the sniper, so you can go for a pick. Mashiro coming up the spy. I believe that is literally just check off-class and everything, which is fair.
Yeah, just check.
Slimedout can just probably sit and just hold them on last, because they could just play Timer again, as I said, reset or whatnot, as they are in the lead. Banny Timer get 5, they just need 1 more round, and they do take the series here, and we do have a heavy off-class coming out on the side of Ziah's Burgers here, now actually switching back to the standard 60 class here, as actually they do get 2 frags on the side of slimedout. They do lose 2 players, and now 3. Glitchy getting a little bit too far forward there in the river position, and we could see a trade on the cards. Something is gearing up to happen in this river position here.
Yeah, that was one where, you know, Sky and I believe it was Sky and Maddie were trying to under the point. They tried to go put some pressure on cap time just to, you know, pressure, see if they could make Ziah's Burger make a mistake. And they ended up taking the 2v2 down in water, and they lost the 2v2 fairly handily. It was 2 soldiers versus the soldier and scout, and that's close corridors and a lot of spam that both players ate. I like the idea, though. I like the aggression. I like the attempt. We do have a sniper up. This is Sky. Sky get the kill, fires the shot, doesn't find it. Do they know that Sky is there? Yes, they do. Somehow Maddie died. I missed where that bomb came through.
sack play coming up from Maddie there, and they do manage to spot the sniper out. So we now know the sniper's in play. Tom choosing to switch into heavy, so a little bit of off-classing and trying to make space for Sky to get picked. Sky does get taken out, and now we do actually have Matty on the spy.
Megumi died.
Oh!
It was a trap from Glitchy, I believe. I didn't see where the drop came from.
Must have been just stickies, I think, just in sort of that shut-up position. So, but this isn't ideal now, because Matty's committed on spy, so this is a bit interesting for the last push. I'm curious to see how they choose to play this out. Full Uber, and I think Matty's going to try go for something. I think he's definitely being spotted. Does get the
backstab on a scout?
But now, but now they know there's a spy there, and I feel like this is a bit of a communication puzzle, I would say, but now you have to just try to play off spy and try and get a bit of cap time onto point there, and that is 5 rounds on the board side of Slime. Yeah, a very convincing win, a little bit shaky at the start there, but however they do manage to stabilize at the very end. A very interesting last round, to say the least, though. I think Megumi must have got trapped out, likely, I would say, like just stickies and just sort of walked over and imploded. Nothing to say the least. Yeah,
I literally did not see where that... I just kind of looked and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, died the stickies? And it was Megumi? I'm like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah. And when you look at the logs, which are up now, first thing is, as I mentioned, Glitchy's damage output, despite having not such a high sort of kill count, 340, and you especially saw just the pipes, especially using roll as well on Gullywash, I feel like has a big impact just because, you know, you spam, they just roll, you're going to be getting a lot of damage up. But I do want to highlight Wilson as well on the combo scale as well, 355 DPM, 25 kills. But when you compare the side of Ziah's Burgers there, I feel like Lemons, unfortunately not, I'd say, I feel like was pretty absent for most of the game. Like, there was not much he could really do besides sort of trap and hold last. But overall, despite getting that first round there, I feel like Ziah's Burger just sort of like died out, just coming around, throughout the game. Slimed also figured out in the first minute, once they used beggars, they just sort of played height and go fast. Despite, actually though, mid-fight success being high for the side of Ziah's Burgers, to say the least, though. So the mid-fights were better, to say the least, for them. But overall, I think Slimed also just figured out and how to counter the beggars at the end.
I think one thing that you saw a lot of that kind of broke things apart for Ziah's Burger was a little bit of disconnect in the combo. And it was times where decisions were made that weren't necessarily the best decisions. So one I look back to is a couple rounds ago in mid, there was a bomb that came through where Ziah's Burgers held mid, it was even Ubers, and the bomb comes in, gets a lot of damage in on Lemons, and Megumi made the decision to pop and save the demo. Then what happened is they came through, they got mid anyways, because with the way that the trade came out, didn't favor them at all.
No.
Then the fact is they couldn't hold mid. They were going to be back on second with Uber disadvantage anyways. It's one of those things where it might have just been better to concede, like give up the demo kill and just back out to second, try and get some spamming, rather than take a really awkward trade where you kind of save your demo, but you also don't really save your demo, but you also can't really Uber into them. And there were just times like that throughout this game where there felt like that disconnect between Ziah's Burgers combo. Another great example is there were times where they got a little separated, which meant that the Uber came off, that meant the player died.
I mean, I do agree with separate. I think one thing to highlight, about separation, a good example is definitely their retreats back onto, sort of when to concede mid, I think is a good example, especially that sort of last sort of final rounds. We see Megumi and them backing out, but then also they're trying to stay alive, they re-enter mid, and that just ultimately delays Megumi's death. And I feel like this also comes maybe with inexperience, but also, again, as you highlight, decision making. Also, a few mistakes that was coming up from Slayer, I'd say. A few, I guess, trigger happy moments, put it that way. Like Glitchy probably playing a little bit too far in, or maybe some miscommunications, Glitchy getting caught out. But overall, I think a very big lack, I would say, of just sort of communicational decision making, I think, is correct from the side of Ziah's Burgers, and especially that sort of especially that example of sort of their calls to sort of back out. And I guess good one is, sort of that final round, Megumi's death being delayed.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I don't think either team, in a 5-1 scoreline, I mean, it looks like one team just was like, normally you're at a 5-1 scoreline and you're going, one of these teams is a lot more cohesive than the other one. There was definitely sloppy moments from both teams. The biggest difference is Ziah's Burger didn't really punish to the same degree Slimedout for the mistakes that Slimedout was making, whereas Slimedout definitely punished Ziah's Burgers,
Yes.
it felt like, more often. And the mistakes wouldn't necessarily be bigger mistakes per se, it's just the punishment came out a lot better.
And I think just general sort of collapse and sort of execution, and I guess that also comes with, general experience. Few of these players, I guess, definitely, yes, have played Prem before, but all of these players have sort of faced sort of each other. But I think it just comes with potentially, I guess, just generally, sort of communication on how they want to play off each other. I think that's the big thing. Just general sort of counterplay and, what they decide to call. And overall, Slimedout, generally when it comes to sort of experience-wise, I think have the slight edge on the side of Ziah's Burgers, just because when you look at players like Shady, who's playing Med, despite, I guess, being more well-versed on that sort of combat classes, he still has that sort of experience and vocals sort of on Med, and sort of can help Glitchy in that sort of department, whereas I think Glitchy, despite being one of those more up-and-coming demos, has really good calls, and with the right sort of support on, Med or even Combo Scout, he can definitely shine, and obviously this is a good example in this match, despite being a 5-1 scoreline. Definitely showed up and definitely did a lot of sort of impact, and I guess, sort of playing to the best of his ability and hitting some really nice pipe and sort of sticky damage onto the opposing gamers on Ziah's Burgers.
And now, of course, this is a 2-map week, obviously. That's how this works. We're not done just because Gullywash is in the book 5-1. And just because one team showed really well on Gullywash doesn't mean that they're going to show well on product. It is a completely different beast. No longer 5 CP. We're on King of the Hill and one of the all-time staples of a TF2 map.
Bit of a best of 5 action, reverse sweeping, bit of DM, but this is where I feel like DM is the, just general sort of, standard, gunfights and, just fighting for the mid, but this is where the team play works. It's curious to see how decision making for especially the trades, and also, taking a point here, you sort of tank your combo here. Your combo sort of edges the point there with demo sort of supporting. Alternatively, I think the way Slimedout wants to play potentially could be tank Glitchy a little bit more, is my guess, because seeing how sort of aggressive he plays. But as we mentioned earlier, this is where that combo sort of play will come into effect, especially on a map like Product. And I think key players to watch out is to see, I think, the scouts on the side of Slimed Out, but also I think the side of Ziah's Burgers is to see, I guess, overall, if, all players can sort of play together. I think there's probably play to watch out, I guess, it's Tom on the side of Ziah's Burgers. But before we head into that, though, we do have some standings to talk about, finally. Yay!
Yeah, we tried to do a pregame, and then I was promptly told that, actually, no, this is going live any second now. We do not have time to look at standings. This time we do, and who doesn't love a little standings peek? And, I mean, really, these two teams are neck and neck in the standings.
Yes.
Slimedout and Ziah's Burgers 8 and 9 respectively. And I believe you were telling me about a magic number that had to do with 8, were you not?
Correct, yes. So, obviously, for those unaware and probably new to the season, Premier is played in an AFL format. So, from the research I have done and from what I have been told, from what I recall, it is the top 8 teams that make playoffs. So I think the standings here, and for obviously your knowledge as well, Dreamboat, Rolex and Distraction of Lex are the two favorite teams this season. They are the undisputed favorites coming in, but otherwise everything else in the standings is sort of to play for. At the moment, as of week 2, this is pending obviously all the other Prem games that are yet to be played. We've got Rolex as your number 1, Distraction of Lex number 2. 3rd is Cash is King, 4th Ascension, 5th Bread Gaming, 6th LBFG, 7th Willie's Theories, and 8th being slimed out if we were to go to playoffs right now. But obviously below that we've got Ziah's Burgers, Just a Chill Guy, and Coom Alt Zeno Black. I believe some games haven't been played out, but this is
and
how
rest
the
in peace,
Prem standings goes. Obviously, we do have one team, unfortunately, biting the dust and disbanding. So therefore, 11 teams now in Prem, but top 8 make playoffs. So not the end of the world if you, I guess, lose a bit. End goal is to make top 8, but the highest seed is the better, as if you are the bottom seed, you are definitely going to verse the number 1 seed and potentially get eliminated within the first week of playoffs, unfortunately.
And I mean, who doesn't want to make playoffs, and who doesn't want to make an impact in playoffs? Because it's one of those things where, you know, no one really remembers what happens in the regular season, but when you etch your name in history in playoffs, when all eyes are on you, that is when your legacy is built. We see this next part of the quest to build their legacy. We are live here on Viaduct, or on Product, I should say. You know, I'm washed, okay? I'm sorry. As Maddie bombs in. Maddie's so hurt early on here for slimedout. This should be a kill converted. Somehow Maddie's staying alive, and Megumi is the first one to fall. It's Psycho coming in with the rockets, and the kills going all the way of slimedout now, as Maddie, despite me convinced Maddie would die, Maddie stayed alive.
Yeah, and one thing though is Mishiro actually opted to start on the sniper. Very interesting sort of call to make, especially on the first mid here, and not working out. He does choose to stay on the sniper for the moment, see if he can get any picks here. But now, really good play coming from Maddie, obviously getting behind, does take down Megumi really quickly there, and Mishiro trying to sort of put pressure, trying to make it harder for the side of slimedout to push, and it looks like they are going to gear up potentially for a bit of a sack wave play here, getting a little bit of space onto this side, trying to get a bit of spam here, and we do see a bit of a sack wave attempt coming out from the side of Ziah's Burger, getting onto Shady, and Shady does have to force in the end, and actually really good sack wave coming out from the side of Ziah's Burgers here, and now a little bit of a, I would say, passive forward coming from the side of Slimed out here, trying to get a little bit of pressure, and Mishiro still staying on the sniper, but having one soldier down is definitely not ideal, but who's to see if they can make the sniper to work it, and we do see the play coming up from the side of Ziah's Burgers here, but as I said earlier, looks like a little bit of hesitation actually coming up from the side of them, and Mishiro getting taken out of the process there.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to lose a player, as the Uber did get forced out. I thought it was honestly popped in a great spot for Ziah's Burger, where they should be able to find good cleanup, but it didn't work out that way. And how a spot where slimedout should be able to just re-aggress. They've got the Uber ad. They have to be worried about Mishiro and Sniper still. See if they can break the hold. I can sympathize with Mishiro, though. I played Roamer on this map for a season, and I've never had worse mental health than trying to play Roamer on Viaduct. I spent way too much of it playing Sniper. So I sympathize as the Uber comes out here. Glitchy in, finds the kill on Lemons. Will they find it any more? World Big's Blank goes down. Or Blanky is Blank, I should say. That's all they really find. So.
I thought we see a class swap, sorry. I saw Mishiro walk into spawn, but they need to get the sniper to work. I think at some point you need to choose whoever's the same sniper. Like, does get taken out in the process there, so hopefully we do see 2 soldiers. It's definitely just having the standard 2 soldiers working really well coming out from the side of Slimedout, and the sniper isn't working too well. And I have a feeling as well they definitely, sort of, you know, Mishiro definitely can snipe on this map, and I think it's something they probably expected, to be honest. But so far, though, no picks coming out yet from the sniper, and I don't think...
Of course.
Oh, finally! A frag coming out from Mishiro, so he does get a pick onto Manny there, but, as you said, a force coming out on the side of Ziah's Burger, and time in favor of Slime out here.
Now they're trying to find any kills that they can. Sky is in a lot of trouble. Will go down. Thomas with the meat shot and a big stuff on Maddie. Great forward hold pressure coming through. Can they find any more kills? Pressure, but no kills found yet. The forward hold going to be key here for Ziah's. They need to buy some time on the point. There's a minute discrepancy right now. It looks like forward hold is going to be averted as Slimedout find that space. Now start pressuring towards the point. Glitchy taking some damage, but Thomas gets so lit up. Scout in a lot of trouble. So they are forward. They are towards the point. Glitchy in some trouble. Takes an arrow to stay alive. But the kills haven't come in for either side yet. Thomas might be the first one to fall. Trying to stay alive. Will go down to Sky, but immediately traded out. And now an Uber popped off here. But still no pop yet. Shady holding it for so long. Milking beautifully. This is going very well for Slimedout. And now they find more kills. Glitchy does a great job to stay alive. Megumi going down to Maddie. This should be easy peasy.
Shady almost running into the sniper and almost got SMG. Very scary, but yeah, nice living by Shady and really good movement coming up by him, and they do manage to retake the point there. Good time Bernardo from the side of Ziah's here, but now Uber advantage in favor of Slime out here, and Mashiro still opting to stay on the sniper. I think so far this round, I think he might have only got one or two kills, I think, on it. I've only seen actually like one. So far, I've only seen one kill. He might have got two, but
He got the Kukri kill.
I guess that counts.
Did we count that?
Yeah, may as well. But I feel like in the second round he needs to go back to Soldier. Like, I don't think the sniper's working out how they imagine, to be honest. But
yeah, it's just not hitting the shots that he needs to.
And he's also just taking pressure out super well coming out from the side of Slime. As they do choose to take an Uber trade there, Uber add in favor of Slime and they do manage to take down Megumi. The first flash on the Soldier there, and Fragster going in favor of Slime and they do take down Glitchy for Ziah's, and Pointer now getting punched from the side of Ziah's here, and Fragster going in favor of Slime here, and we do see first round going in favor of Slime out here. So really, I won't say convincing to get close down towards the end there, but I think we reiterated earlier, I feel like Mashiro, yeah, as I said, does choose to go back on the Soldier here. So
the biggest thing I'd like to point out is the fact that currently Lemons is on 4 points as a demo on product.
Yeah,
that's not a recipe to win,
no.
And a lot of that is the fact that the added spam of the Soldier is not there to be a deterrent.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see the switch over to Soldier. Mashiro going quite deep, doesn't find the first kill. In fact, Andy Rue is the first one to die. Glitchy, though, immediately traded out, and that's the demo. That is a big first pick. And now Ziah's find the remaining ones. They're looking for them. They're trying to keep Megumi alive. And their health is very poor, but some arrows are going to come out and pull out some healing, and this should allow them to regress as the cap goes the way of Slimedout.
Yeah, I mean, early point contention actually going in favor of Slimedout to start here, and Tom already getting taken out, so not ideal with a player disadvantage here. And, you know, as you said earlier, Lemons on 4 points, not ideal, and especially, you know, losing that Soldier spam, so it's good Mashiro does switch back to that class here, and we do see a potential trade coming out onto the point here. Nice build coming out from Shady here. Uber does get popped down both sides here, juggling, though, coming out from some side, but onto the scout there, trying to get frags. Mashiro doesn't get taken out there, and it is pretty dead even. Both teams losing one, now losing two on the side of Slimedout here, so we do see a bit of a play coming to point there, and Frags actually going in favor of Ziah's here, and we do see the retreat call coming out from the side of Slimedout. Shady does manage to live, does back out towards that clip position there, and he should be safe and sound in spawn here. So much better coming out from the side of Ziah's, especially with their re-aggression, and as you highlighted earlier, Dreamboat, the added spam of a Soldier. So hopefully Lemons' job is a bit easier in the coming rounds.
And big two is the kills in that fight ended early for Ziah's, so even though with the longer spawn timers, they have all 6 here and ready to be engaged. Health, though, a lot better on Slimedout. A lot of errant spam being caught by Ziah's. It's going to be an awkward fight. Neither team have their Uber yet. They're just edging the point. Scout just on it, about half cap right now. And finally, the double bomb's coming through. And they will find the kill onto Megumi. 96% on the Uber. as the two soldiers go flying in. Maddie and Psycho, they do their job. And if you're Megumi, you're asking, how the hell did two soldiers just get in on me?
Yeah, I think they're now just going for desperate play, trying to force Shady there, and Shady does not pop at all. Time advantage, and again, not too much of a difference here. Slimedout does regain the lead. Glitchy getting some really aggressive traps, and I think that definitely has been spotted. Very likely it has been. And I'm hearing the noise of a key bomb launcher, so Lemons unfortunately having to resort to, and oh my, Glitchy's going in, does take out Lemons, and nice pipes onto Lemons, and Andrew also does get cleaned up. Unfortunately, Glitchy does get taken out there, and we do see frags so going all in favor of Slimedout here.
And Megumi
so
falls again.
Yeah, Lemon switching to Cookie Bomb. I think that, I feel like we're in desperation, and Lemon's having a very rough game. I feel like just getting shut down left, right, and center, to be honest.
And it's a little bit of over-aggression from the scouts that I think are causing it. They're allowing separation, which is why these bombs are coming in so beautifully from Slimedout. And it's finding the medic kills kind of at a will. Speaking of bombs, Andy has now bombed in behind, trying to find Shady. It's a nice rocket, but will not land the air shot. Went for it. It would have been stylish.
Maddie trading with Jerry for the airshot play, and we do see again 3 frags going in favor of the side of Ziah's Burgers here, and I think they're just going to try to get up for one final play here, trying to go for some sort of force step onto Shady. Nice movement coming up by Shady to survive the incoming bombs here, and we do see a bit of a forward hold coming out from the side of Slimedout here, trying to just delay time, and we could see a trade there on that grass position, but no trade coming out yet on the side of, and they're just bleeding players. This is super aggressive coming out from the side of Slimedout here. No space gain coming out from Ziah's Burgers here, and with 15 seconds or 16 seconds left the clock, they need to make a move here. Kushiro, unfortunately, with the rope jump, does get a lot of height there, trying to get onto Glitchy here, but no frag. Actually, Glitchy does get taken out in the process, and we do see now a bit of a trade there, but 3 plays down actually on the side of Slimedout here, so actually a little bit better in favor of Ziah's Burgers. So we do get out in the end, but what we lost though, because the time now, they can't leave the point. They need to sit on that, otherwise it will be match and series point to the side of Slimedout.
So that's one of the ones where Shady tried to milk, and the danger you have of milking as more kills coming through. And actually, Megumi fell there. Oh my god.
Oh.
Megumi just can't stay alive. That probably will be the game. But in that initial push out, what happened is Shady tried to milk just too hard. And when you really try and milk and try and stay alive, sometimes you're on the risk of dropping players. And Shady dropped 3, Ubered on nobody, and it led to a very easy cleanup for Ziah's Burger. And now they've got the point set. There is a spy that's not going to do anything. That's Andy Roo. It does actually get glitchy. I shouldn't say it does nothing. But this should be pretty straightforward cleanup, but it's not straightforward cleanup. In fact, Ziah's Burger's finding all of the kills. Lemons with a couple, and that's a big pair of kills. But again, they overextend a little bit. They drop players. Megumi died, and now with the spawn timers being how product works,
The spy,
it should still be easy.
Andrew's still on the spy, got a pick on the demo, and he still hasn't died yet, so they definitely know a spy is in play. Can he get the medic though? And does. Oh. And then here's we forgot the point exists. Well.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Ziah's Burgers just kind of overextended and got trades, which on most maps, you don't care. Like, a trade, it is what it is. On product, though, because of the respawn discrepancy, you spawn faster when you do not have the point.
That is true.
Slimedout fully spawned, got back in, and took a 6-on-3, and it was sloppy, but they still found everyone they needed to. Now this go around, the bomb's over the top. Megumi once again falls. It's Glitchy getting the kill. Cleanup is coming in nice and easily. I don't think anyone's going to get on Shady. This is pretty textbook for Slimedout, unless the world's blankiest blank can have a miracle, and I'm skeptical.
I feel like they've now just gone for the double beggars, trying to get something fast, and still they can't get anything, and now Mishira gave back on the sniper, so it feels like you know, they're trying to try everything possible to try to gain some sort of advantage in the series, which, to be honest, they haven't really had. It's been sort of slimed out, controlling the pace of the game and how they want to play. I think they do spot the sniper now, so Glitchy does eat a little bit of a headshot here, and I think we do see a bit of a sticky play, sorry, coming out from the connect position. Glitchy going really deep there. No frags yet, though, but Andrew does get taken out, and actually Megumi gets taken out as well, and really nice cleanup coming out from the side of Slimed out there. Really nice play coming from Glitchy, and good pipes and stickies, and yeah, I think Slimed out. Sorry, Ziah's Burgers. How do you say it? That's sort of hitting a brick wall. They're trying everything, and I feel like, to be honest, Slimed out. I'm just hitting their shots as well. You have to add that. They are killing stuff, put it that way.
Yeah, they're doing it, and they're doing it quickly. Can they find more kills here? Of course. Blanky's blank goes down. Wilson Brown traded out immediately as well, so not the most sexy set of trades there. It's kind of one apiece, scouts each. And this is one of the ones where if I'm Blanky's blank, I'm kind of mad at my team. Zeisberger's got the cap, and basically he was on 1 second to spawn, and they back spawned him, which is just... It's the bane of my existence. I hate it.
And I think
it happens.
Coming in Prem, I think that happens as well. Yeah, like people will take advantage of it, and as you know, we do see a little bit of a trade actually coming out from the side of Ziah's Burgers here, and Uber gets reused, and Megumi down again. I'm very curious to see how many times Megumi has died actually after this game. The amount of times we've seen her getting caught out.
Yeah, it's been a lot of deaths. And here's one of the things that I always found with the weak system that y'all have in Australia. I'm Canadian. I played the ESEA for years, where we didn't really have the 2 maps in the same week. What can happen is when you play a map like Gullywash before product, and you stomp a team 5-1, you come in with so much confidence that you can hit your shots, you can get the job done. And Slimedout is playing confident. They look like they know that they can hit their shots as Glitchy goes down to Thomas.
Megumi dead again.
Once again, dead to Sky. This is a scout that is on a hunting mission and just keeps finding kills everywhere Sky looks.
I think it's just a reoccurring issues every time we see some sort of play happening, and the next minute we just see in the bottom of our screen Megumi's dead again. So I feel like there's definitely some either communication, or they're not, to be honest, it's just not doing a good job protecting Megumi, or they're, miscommunication, just generally not protecting Megumi properly. Alternatively, people are just getting behind and just forgetting about it basically. And we do finally see Point getting recaptured by Slimer and Uber not being used, which is another bonus here, and they are probably going to hold forward, which they are already getting a bit of some grass, and I feel like we could just repeat the same thing, blocking them out in their spawn basically. But
so one of the things that can happen as well is when you feel like you're behind in a game like this, is a big bomb comes through, and living is shady, very hurt, has to pop the Uber out, and we'll get the clean up here. Thomas trying to hide. I don't think that's gonna work. There we go. I was waiting for it. It was inevitable. But what I was saying is, when you feel like you're behind in this, and you feel like you're getting outclassed, everyone starts to feel like maybe I need to be a hero. Like someone needs to be a hero. And when you have that happen, that can leave you with that separation where you go to make the play, but you sometimes miss someone coming in behind, as Batty finds the kill on Andy Root. And that's, I think, why Megumi has been caught out so much. And once again, Patty coming in over the top.
Glitchy's doing such a good job as well. I think this is GG, and Yuru's come on the spy. I think he's committed, and 10 seconds left. They're going to try to go with desperation play. Does see the med. Do they know he was on spy?
Do they care?
Probably not. Do they care? And I think they know there's a spy in play, and 0 for the side of Slimed out there. So overall, a very convincing. I think a very convincing game actually on product compared to what we saw in Gullywash, where yes, it was a little bit more back and forth, where Zeisberger's got that early lead on the first round there, but when you look at the logs on this when we get the graphic on stream,
I feel like overall this was just, you look at the players on the side of slimedout, 365 DPM on Glitchy, 340 on Psycho, 360 on Maddie. I think slimedout just overall outclassed, I think, Ziah's Burgers here. I think there's nothing else really to say. I think Lemons had a really rough game, to say the least. Mashiro, yes, he was off-classing and being on Sniper, but I think overall, the only player, you got Tom dropping 23 kills, is the only player sort of just trying to do what he can. And unfortunately, you can't have a 1v6 in a Team Fortress 2 video game. But no, overall, I think, yeah, slimedout played really well. And even when you look at a kill disparity, and even as we highlighted, med deaths, Shady dying twice, Megumi dying 12 times. But overall, I feel like, yeah, Ziah's Burgers just, I guess nothing was really sort of working in their favor.
Yeah, this is one of those things where Gullywash, 5-1, scoreline, whatever. Like, if you ignore that, it was a much closer game. It was two teams, though, that were playing very sloppy. When it came to product, one of these teams did not play sloppy. This was a clean game from slimedout, which makes me think, maybe Gully just isn't actually their map. It's a map that maybe they're less comfortable on. Maybe it's a map they like a little bit less. They feel very comfortable on product. Their bomb timings were consistent. They were together. They were synced up beautifully. Their ability to keep Shady alive was impeccable for so much of that match. Shady died twice. Megumi died 12 times. And what you saw on the other side of Ziah's Burger is you saw a disconnect. You saw a discrepancy where, again, I think maybe what it is I think they realized they were being a little outclassed. And then they tried to go a little bit more heroic. And because of that, desynced from their medic and separated more than they should. And that led to Megumi dying a lot.
I feel like as well, if Mashiro started on Soldier and didn't stay on Sniper for pretty much most of round one, I feel like there could have been a bit of, I think it'll be a bit of more fight. There definitely was a little bit close, round one it did get a bit close. But look, overall, I think, yeah, I can't agree with you where slimedout basically sort of outclassed Ziah's Burgers, and still early days. Yes, I feel like there's definitely good things to learn back from these games, but I feel like, as you said earlier as well during the game, if your demo is on 4 points, I think we have issues. Put it that way.
Oh no, and I will give massive credit to Anna/Lemons as well, because it was a spot where the performance wasn't there. Even the damage output, like I feel like if we isolated round one and just looked at DPM, we're probably looking at 140 on the demo. Like it was just, it wasn't there.
And then you compare to
finish the match on 292 speaks to a huge bounce back from where I think it was. And it's something where you look at that and go, okay, like that's what changed. Now, part of that was that there was a soldier that helped them stay alive. I think Tom did a little bit better job of protecting the demo as well, which gave them a little glimmer of hope. The problem is, look at the damage across the board on slimedout. Like, it is so strong, and you don't really have any outliers where anyone didn't pull their weight. Like, the worst is Sky at 270, but Sky had 18 kills, only 14 deaths, and a lot of the kills were impactful kills. Problem is, you look at World's Blankiest Blank, 10 and 18, 215.
I do actually, before we switch to standings, if we do have an update one, sorry, I do want to point out is Sky, three of his kills were just on Megumi. So, as you said, impactful frags. Obviously, there's your answer. But I think, again, back to Lemons as well, I think, you definitely have to give credit despite how the start of that game was going. But I think overall, you compare that to Glitchy, you saw some of the plays he was going in, some of the bombs. He was being super confident going in, bombing through, and every time he's in, he's at least getting, a multi-kill of some sort, getting 2 or more kills, basically, when you look at those bombs.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one when you see the demo died 15 times. That doesn't scream product, but Glitchy just wanted to bomb, and Glitchy had fun. And that's, you can do that when you are smoking a team. And
Glitch-
really, that's what
glitchy.
this was. It was
Glitchy
pretty
go
systematic domination.
Basically, glitchy go kill, to say the least. I think
Because
that's
even the to me, what stands out is even the close rounds, where like I'll use air quotes when I say close rounds, where like the clock got low or the clock was pretty level. It never felt like Slimedout wasn't in control of those rounds. Like there was one where the timers got very low on both sides. It was one where Slimedout had killed Megumi, had full Uber ad, was letting the time churn down just to really have a better way of coming back in anyways. And that's it wasn't close. Like even when it felt close at times, it was not close.
Yeah, and I believe we do have a standings graphic which will be updated with this scoreline and a really, really good amount of points coming out from Slimedout here, boosting them up to 6th position. They're obviously, still early days. Cash is team number 3, but otherwise, when we judge off this game, Slimedout has jumped up to E6. So really, really nice. Really good haul of points, to say the least. And Ziah's Burgers dropping down to P10, so not ideal. Obviously now having 5 losses and 1 win, and Slimedout finally getting 2 wins in a row. Last week they did play, but traded maps. But overall, really good game coming out from Slimedout, and obviously commiserations to the side of Ziah's Burgers. Definitely, I think, they're probably going to, I feel like they're just going to watch back the game and figure out what sort of went wrong on their side and, figure out where they can improve. But obviously, we do have to give props, I guess, to Lemons, obviously, despite how that sort of first half of the game went. And obviously, to come back on 292 DPM is quite impressive. And obviously, a demo dying 50 times, not ideal, but, he sort of made do of the situation at hand.
So that's in the books. Do we have any more? Do we know? This is me asking my producer. I'm sorry. This is me talking out loud. Do we have any other upcoming casts that we know of?
Not yet. Obviously, pending. Let's see what happens next week. Potentially, we might. But otherwise, just a reminder. Obviously, we do have. Land Down Under has been confirmed July 18th to 19th. In Melbourne, so hopefully we'll see most of you guys there, and you might be able to see a few of the CappingTV staff as well. Obviously, we do also have qualifiers coming up shortly, so do prepare. English is hard. Do start looking at making your teams soon. But otherwise, that is us done. I don't believe we'll have interviews. Anything you want to say quickly before we say goodbye? Dreamboat, any shout-outs or anything you want to say before we head off tonight?
Yeah, shout out to Mitch for somehow, some way managing to get a very retired broadcaster to keep coming back. I mean, for those of you that don't know me or don't really remember who I was, I casted this game damn near honestly a decade ago. That's about the timeline. I-58, Rewind 1, Rewind 2, that's the era that I was around. I retired, was a baseball commentator for 3 years, decided that I was done being a broadcaster back at the end of August and retired, yet somehow Mitch, with whatever snake oil he has, somehow manages to get me to come out of retirement for CappingTV pretty consistently. And I love it. I love coming back and just doing the random Australian Team Fortress 2. So thank you all for bearing with me in the weird era of retired baseball commentator. And thanks for joining me, Kevin. It was a fun one.
This is all good. Obviously, thank you for casting with us today, Dreamboat. I believe it is 2, 3 a.m., so you probably should go to sleep and have some nice rest shortly. Obviously, thank you for Mitch for producing and Shigbeard as well. And then obviously thank you for both teams for playing. Obviously, congratulations to Slimedout and commiserations to Ziah's Burgers. Hopefully we'll see you next week for some more TF2 action. And otherwise, stay safe, have a good night, and we might catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Bye-bye.